Guys, welcome back to my channel, Jen's Junk. My name is Jen. For those of you who have watched my videos before, welcome back. And for those of you who are new to this channel, thank you for taking the time to check out this video. So today I thought I would do something a little bit different, and this is one of my goals for the new year for 2021. And I wanted to add some segments about books because I am a huge reader. I love books. I love talking about books. I'm on Goodreads, and I just thought that to try something new, to kind of add something a little bit different to this channel, focusing on books. So my plan is to start on Fridays, what's called Friday Reads. And it's actually a tag on Twitter that I usually do, but I'm gonna bring it here to YouTube. So on Friday Reads, what I'm gonna do is tell you about a book that I'm reading for the day or for the weekend, or maybe do a review of a book that I had completed. So something a little bit different to add to this channel. So make sure you kind of stick around and watch for that on Friday. So that is my goal. So getting to today's video, I was inspired by Emma over at Emma and Jon, You're Welcome. And I will link their YouTube down below in the description box. And they gave me an idea. They did a tag. It was 2020 Goodreads Year in Review tag. So books that I've read in 2020. And I was so inspired by Emma doing the video that I wanted to do it too. So I'll link that video down below as well. And so she really inspired for me to do this tag, and so I wanted to do that for you today. Now this tag, I'm sure, was meant to be done in review at the end of 2020, and it is in the middle of January now, but I thought it's still early enough where I could probably get away with this tag, and so that is what today's video is going to be. So here we go. Question number one, how many books did you read in 2020? I read 68 books. My book goal on Goodreads was 40 books. And so I did read 68 books. And what was really cool about Goodreads is that it breaks it down. For those of you who are not familiar about Goodreads, it's a free app that you can get on your tablet or phone. And you can keep track of what you read and the pages that you read. And it's really, really awesome. And plus you get book ideas or suggestions from other people on the book community, or they even have their own lists of, who's the best sellers, that kind of thing. So Goodreads is such an awesome app, especially if you are a huge book reader like me. If there was a job or a career for a professional book reader, that would totally be me, totally. So on average, my average book that I read in 2020 was 313 pages. And then the total pages I read in 2020 was 21,344. So just a little additional information that you didn't really need to know. But to answer the question, I read 68 books last year. This year, my goal is 50 books. So we'll see how that goes. Question number two, what was the first book that you read in 2020? I read The Book Charmer by Karen Hawkins, and I think I must have gotten it at the library before COVID had really come into the public consciousness. So I don't have a hard copy of that, but it was called The Book Charmer. And I did give it about a 3 rating on Goodreads. It was a good solid book. So yeah, there you go. So that was my first book of last year. Okay, question number 3. What was your most anticipated read of 2020? My most anticipated read of 2020 was The Grace Kelly Dress by Brenda Janowitz. And I had heard about this through the book community and on Goodreads, and it had such great reviews, and I read the synopsis and I was just drawn into it. And so this was my most anticipated read, and I did read it and I loved the book. I gave it a 5-star reading on Goodreads. And basically it's about 3 women and how their paths cross based on this dress. And obviously the dress is symbolic. And so it was a very heartfelt book, some great characters in here, and I would highly recommend this book if you have not read it yet. So this was my most anticipated read for 2020, the Grace Kelly dress. And the cover is just so stunning too. And I don't know about you guys, but I do look at the covers, and sometimes I make my book selections based on the cover alone. So do you guys do that? Let me know in the comments below if you choose your books based on the cover alone. Some of us do. All right, the next question, question number 4. What was the shortest book I read in 2020? The shortest book I read was The Worst Witch by Jill Murphy. Now I had read this book before, so disclaimer. I don't know where my hard copy is, but I did reread it on my iPad. And since I don't have that technology know-how to be all fancy and put it up on the screen, I have my iPad right here, and it's kind of slow. It's loading right now. But it was called The Worst Witch by Jill Murphy. And the original, it was actually like a little movie on HBO starring Tim Curry, Fairuza Balk, Charlotte Rae was in it, and it was one of my absolute favorites, and to this day I watch it on every Halloween. So it's kind of become kind of very nostalgic and kind of a tradition. And here are some of the series books. Oh, I guess it just cut out. But anyway, it was called The Worst Witch by Jill Murphy. It was just a really, really cute book about a mischief witch and her adventures. So really, really cute. And I highly recommend the movie too. It's a great 80s movie. So great memories. All right, question number 5. What was the longest book I read in 2020? The longest book I read was Henry VIII by Alison Weir, and I've read some of her books before, and this is the book. Check it out. Yeah. Yes, I read all of those. This was the longest book I read. I became obsessed with British history when Stars released the White Queen and the White Princess series. And I always went to the Renaissance Fair back in my home state of Wisconsin every summer. And so this period in history has always fascinated me. So I have read a lot of Alison Weir's books, and they are long books, but this was the longest book I read in 2020, and it was 642 pages. So as fast as a reader as I am, it did take me a while to get through this book. I think it might have taken me like a week or something like that. So very descriptive, a lot of facts, very, very interesting. So if you're into British history, I highly recommend her books if you're looking for that. Okay, question number 6. What book surprised you the most? It could be good or bad. This is good. This was a recommendation from one of my friends. This is called A Bridge Across the Ocean by Susan Mesnier. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I have read some of her other books, and they are really, really good, and highly, highly recommend her. So here it is. Isn't that just a gorgeous, gorgeous cover? It just blew my expectations out of the water. It was surprising. It had twists and turns. It was a great read. I gave it a 5-star rating on Goodreads. It has the past and the present, and three women are kind of intertwined in it, and it goes back and forth between narrators, and I just absolutely loved this book. So I was quite surprised by how great this book was, and I cannot recommend this author enough. Susan Mesner, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but check her out. It is just a fabulous book, and her other books are great too. I have read A Charmed Life, and I highly recommend that book as well. So very heartwarming, just brilliant, how the paths kind of connect. So highly recommend that book. So that was a surprising book for me. What was the worst book I read? Unfortunately, that happens. This one was called The Witchets by William Hawley. I would pull it up on my iPad, but as you've seen before, it's kind of slow. And it's a children's book, basically. It had a great premise about a family who moves to a new house that's kind of dilapidated, and then you've got the siblings that are step siblings and their rivalry, and magic is involved. So the premise was great, but unfortunately the execution of the book itself just kind of didn't do it for me. So unfortunately I gave that a two-star rating on my Goodreads, a 2-star rating. So, all right, question number 8. What book exceeded your expectations? The book that I chose that exceeded my expectations was called The Stranger by Harlan Coben, and it was actually a special on Netflix. Now, you guys are gonna laugh, but the reason I bought the book, and I did watch it on Netflix. Actually, I did start the book first before I watched it on Netflix, but the reason I bought this book is because one of my favorite all-time actors, Richard Armitage, who was in The Hobbit and many other films as well, he's a British actor, was in the Netflix series, and I follow him on Twitter and everything, and so I was just really intrigued by the premise of the book, and so I bought the book. I started the book first, and then I watched the Netflix series, and I was blown away by both. Obviously, there's some little different things kind of in the Netflix series, but it was still great, and it followed the book pretty closely. So this one really exceeded my expectations and made me a fan of Harlan Coben, and I have read some of his other books, and I've loved them all. So I highly recommend his books if you're looking for mystery, crime related. It's just a great read, and I obviously, if you have not watched The Stranger on Netflix and checked out Richard Armitage, do it. I highly recommend it. Okay, what author, question number 9, what author did you read the most of? I read Carolyn Keene, the author of the Nancy Drew mystery series. I had actually, believe it or not, I had never read these when I was a kid, and one of my very dear friends back in Wisconsin had them all, basically, and so when I went back to Wisconsin for a visit, she let me borrow the books, and I read quite a few of them. I can't remember if there were 6 or 7 or 8 that I borrowed from her, and so yeah, so Carolyn Keene is the author that I most read last year. So the Nancy Drew mystery series, which started it all. Okay, number 10, question number 10. If you could recommend a book that you read this year in 2020 to your subscribers, what would it be? The Stranger. Definitely The Stranger. So many twists and turns. I was just blown away by this book, and again, check out the Netflix series too. It's definitely worth your time. Okay, question 11. Did the challenges of 2020 hurt or help your ability to read? At the beginning of 2020, it actually helped me get towards my goal. my workplace was shut down for a couple of months due to COVID. And so that's when I really got a lot of my reading done. The libraries were all closed, so I ordered most of my books from Amazon. And plus I do have a stash downstairs that I had gotten and was still on my to be read list. And so during that time in quarantine, I read a lot of books. I think I might have read like 25 books or something like that. I read a lot of books, and it helped to keep me calm. Reading is an activity that I really enjoy that keeps me calm and my anxiety in check. And so that really helped. Towards the end of the year, middle end of the year, obviously, in the news, my anxiety went way, way, way up, and book reading kind of took a back burner because I was just so immersed into everything, I guess. And so that hurt me. I probably could have read a lot more had I not been preoccupied and worried and stressed out and anxious about everything that was happening in the world and the news. So it helped and it hindered me in 2020. It went both ways for me. So, question number 12, what book was the last book that I read in 2020? And that was The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. So it was a pretty interesting read, pretty typical. It's a good mystery. It's solid. I believe I gave it a 4-star rating on Goodreads. So a good kind of cozy mystery read to settle down with, especially great for this time of year. So what I'm reading now are actually 2 books. I am reading Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, The Black Spire by Delilah Dawson. So I'm reading that in addition to a book that I just got yesterday, which is called Bloodline by Claudia Gray, and I've been waiting to read this one for quite a while. So currently I am reading these 2 at the same time. So far I really enjoy them both because obviously I'm a Star Wars person. So yeah, I can't wait to get back to you guys about these books after I'm done with that. Okay, so question number 13, did you finish your 2020 Goodreads challenge? Yes, I did. As I said before, I read 68 books and my goal was 40 books for the year. And this year, again, my goal is 50, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, and a bonus question for Disney YouTubers. What book that you read in 2020 do you think Disney fans would most likely to enjoy? This one I'm going to gear towards more of my Star Wars followers. Women of the Galaxy by Amy Radcliffe. I highly, highly, highly recommend this book. I got this book, actually I cheated a little bit. I read this in 2019, not 2020. Oh, Elvira is here, you guys. Just a little bit of water. Elvira made her guest appearance. Okay, so I cheated a little bit, but I highly, highly recommend this book by Amy Radcliffe. I did get this book at Celebration in 2019 in Chicago, and I met the author herself, and let's see if I can do this. She signed it. Isn't that so cool? Look at that. She signed it. But I highly, highly recommend this book. It focuses on the female characters of the Star Wars universe, and it gives you a little background of each character. So I highly, highly recommend this if you have not read that book already. So I cheated a little bit. That wasn't 2020. Oops, sorry about that. That was 2019, but that's okay. Okay guys, so that concludes my video. Let me know what you think about adding books to this channel. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you have not already. I would greatly appreciate it. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram, and that information is on my About page as well as in the description box below. So like I said earlier in the video, keep a lookout. Hi Elvira. Keep a lookout for my new edition called Friday Reads on Friday. I will be posting a video of a book that I am currently reading or a review of a book I have already read. So keep your eye on that. Eye out for that. That'll be something new for my channel this year. So we'll see how it goes. Thank you guys for taking the time to check out this video, and thank you Emma Emma Jon. You're welcome for inspiring me to do this video and to get back into my reading, because I really need to do that because reading is a huge part of my life, and it's my happy thing. So, all right, you guys, thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time.